Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome back to another StarCraft video. Now today, it is time for another best of 3 series of professional SC2, and this one is actually between two previous world champions of the game. So I'm excited to find out who is gonna be the better one at this point in time. Spawning here in the bottom left hand corner of Blue Shift and playing with the blue Terran SCVs. He's the winner of BlizzCon in 2016 and probably also the sole reason as to why the Reaper got nerfed. We have none other than ByuN. And his opponent spawning in the opposite corner of the map. He's playing with the red Zerg drones. He's the winner of BlizzCon in 2017 and he goes by the name of Rogue. So here we go. Should be a really fun match. Now, even though, of course, Cyril was the one that ended up winning BlizzCon in 2018, and he's definitely the strongest player on the planet right now, there's no denying that Rogue and ByuN are still extremely good at what they do. Rogue in particular, even though he didn't win BlizzCon, he still had a very fruitful 2018, still placing very highly at BlizzCon and just having a great year all around. ByuN though, over I would say like the last 12 months, I haven't heard too much about him. Now, that's not to say that he's a weak player by any stretch of the imagination. It's just that he's, I guess, been overshadowed a little bit by, for example, someone like Maru, Innovation, Gumiho, Bunny, Cure. Like, there's a lot of really great Terran players out there. And while ByuN is still definitely top tier, he hasn't been able to have as smashing of a performance lately as he had in the 2016 season. Now already, we did see that spawning pool first right now from Rogue. He did follow it up with a hatchery on the low ground as well as that gas. 6 Zerglings are gonna go through the top lane of the map. And this is kind of like a MOBA right now, because the Reaper, if he decides to send that through the center, which it looks like it will, it's gonna completely miss these Zerglings. And since ByuN did not go for an SCV scout, he is following it up with a Marine right now, which will at the very least make this command center live for a little while longer. But there's no denying that these Zerglings are going to be in a really annoying position here for the Terran player. I mean, the Reaper right now will recognize roughly what's going on, but already that SCV on the low ground is in a lot of trouble. Now, luckily for ByuN, he did even make a second Marine as well, so he's going to be able to deflect this kind of comfortably here in the end. But I mean, right now the Reaper has to make the walk of shame all the way back towards the natural once again. SCVs are being killed. That's 2 SCVs there in total. And while eventually the command center should finish up, this is already a tremendous amount of damage here done by Rogue. And obviously, this doesn't really cost our Zerg player very much of anything. I mean, he followed this up with a really quick 3rd Queen even as well. He's going to be able to get himself the 3rd hatchery at a normal time too. And while it will all just be a little bit delayed here for Zerg, he's definitely the one who is currently at a small little advantage. Now, by the way, I haven't really seen ByuN play in the new multiplayer balance patch. Even though he's got killer macro, I always kind of, like, you know what I said, right, with the Reaper, right? His micro is intense. He's very good at microing units. And while he's got the macro to back it up, I always do think that he values units that can be controlled a lot more than maybe other Terran players do. So, for example, with the changes to, like, the Cyclone and to the Battlecruiser and whatnot, that might very well be the thing that really puts ByuN back in, like, the picture as far as like, tournament winners in 2019 goes. We'll have to see how that goes, obviously, and what his exact strategies are going to be, but I'm excited to see how well he's currently able to play in the new multiplayer balance patch. We'll see where this one is going to go. Let's have a look at the Terran main base. So very normal opener here from Terran. 1 barracks, 1 factory, 1 starport. He's going to do the big switcheroo right here on that starport as well. Looks like the Overlord will end up going down. A Zergling tried to get a peek here, but it is indeed going to be that cloaking field upgrade right now, as well as a 1 Banshee. It will likely be followed up with a 2nd Banshee as well, and from there on out, ByuN can really start transitioning towards a variety of things. Love this continued scouting though from Rogue. He will be able to get a Zergling up towards that high ground, and while he cannot see the tech lab, this should already give him enough information. One important thing he also saw is that Hellions are still being produced. So immediately, Rogue Rogue did decide to go for a bunch of Zerglings here. He already has a very healthy amount of queens, but he's gonna go up to 8 here in total. And he's gonna delay that lair for a little while longer, just to defend whatever aggression ByuN has got in store for him. So nicely scouted there by Zerg. Just simply seeing that Hellions are still being produced past like 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Past 4:20. It's an easy number to remember, guys. Don't blame me. But if you see Hellions still being produced after 4:20, you know that there's likely going to be some sort of Hellbat or maybe like a Hellion run-by in the near future. So there, indeed, we do now see that armory coming up. Likely going to be a Hellbat push here from our Terran player, although obviously ByuN knows he's been scouted, so we have a bit of a mind game on our hands here, too. Double Evo Chamber coming up. Lair coming up here as well. Rogue is just happily making more and more drones right now. This is a lot of Hellions, though. This is more than you normally see. So ByuN is delaying this push intentionally, hoping to catch his opponent right when he's making a lot of drones. And that's exactly what Rogue is doing right now. He is starting up a couple of those Banelings, but is it going to be enough? And are they going to be in time? That one Banshee tickling away at a lot of those units as well. The Banelings will get picked up very easily. And ByuN going for technically an inferior build. He might be able to deal quite a lot of damage here, although the amount of queens that is still available for Rogue is ridiculous. Yeah. As someone who's played a lot of Terran as well, I feel your pain, Terran players. It's like Zerg just makes a bunch of queens and stops whatever you want to throw at them, right? And that kind of is true in a way. Queens, of course, did get a nerf to that transfuse, but they're still going to be excellent when it comes to that early game defense in particular. They have a tendency to kind of fall off in the mid game. But obviously, in the early and late game obviously with that transfuse on, like, for example, Brute Lords and Ultralisk and all that, and then obviously in the early game for the base defense, they are some of the strongest units in the game. And I actually think, people ask me sometimes, Loko, what do you think is the strongest unit in the game? I think it's actually the Queen. I've thought about this for a really long time. I think Queens genuinely are the best unit in SC2. Closely followed by, like, the War Prism and the Marine, okay? Speaking of Marines, not a lot to be seen so far here from ByuN. Instead, he's going to transition towards that mech-based army. And okay, I like this a lot. He's going to go for the Cyclones. So I do think Cyclones are some of those units where he is really, really good at microing stuff. I think he's the one that can get a lot of value out of those units as well. I love this, though. It's that battle mech kind of unit composition that we've been seeing over the last couple of years. A couple of Hellions do get picked off, by the way, but this is going to be a Hellbat, Hellion, Banshee, Cyclone-based timing, with apparently Larry and Jim also joining the fray. They're going to try and push forward as well. They're like, yeah, go with the race cars. It's like, all right, Larry, calm down, dude. I see you're excited. Anyway, a couple of Banelings will be picked off, and is there going to be enough left over right now for the Zerg player? All of those Hellions do morph into Hellbats. The Zerglings do manage to get the wraparound, but it is not going to be enough. And while Queens are indeed very, very strong, they are gonna have a really hard time dealing with an army that is substantially bigger. ByuN going for unorthodox timings in this match. He is gonna be completely overwhelmed right now by the sheer amount of units that ByuN is capable of throwing at him. And even though he purposely delayed his push, he's gonna be able to now overwhelm Rogue during a point in the game where Rogue thought he was safe. Brilliant mind games here by ByuN in game number 1. And he will be able to obtain the victory. Alright, so just real quick, to explain the mind game. There were, I think, 2 of them that are important to point out. First off, normally when you go for a Hellbat Banshee push, you push right when you have 8 Hellbats and a Banshee, okay? Usually you send the Banshee into the main and then the Hellbats through the center. However, ByuN in that previous match waited until the 9th and the 10th Hellion came out. He was catching Rogue right when he started queuing up a couple more drones, because Rogue assumed the push wasn't coming anymore. Now, while Rogue did manage to clean that one up, obviously the game was in a bit of a weird position right then for Zerg. Now, to follow up, and I thought this one was kind of cheeky, I just went back into the replay just to confirm this. Rogue sent a Zergling to watch his opponent's natural to scout what was going on. And get this, the only thing he saw with that Zergling was Larry and Jim. They were They were shooting over the supply depot, trying to get rid of that Zergling. And obviously, if you see a bunch of Marines at that point in the game, you assume it's gonna be a Marine medevac transition, right? Like a bio transition from Terran. Instead, though, ByuN was producing more Hellions. He rallied those to the back of the natural, and since Zerg always has to deal with limited amounts of information, Rogue assumed that his opponent was gonna transition towards bio, and therefore he droned up very greedily. Nicely played there by ByuN, trying his very best to be a trickster, and I guess it worked out brilliantly in that first match. Now we'll see where this map is gonna take us. But right now on Kairos Junction LE, once again, that quick spawning pool here for Rogue. Interestingly enough, I haven't seen a lot of Zerg players do this over like the last couple of weeks, but apparently he does feel really confident doing this kind of thing. There's no denying that he did obtain a nice little advantage in the early game previously as well. ByuN, though, once again, not sending out any scouting SCVs here in the early game. He's just gonna once more rally that Reaper straight across the map. The Zerglings already heading towards the left-hand side of the map, and this Overlord here, right? This one is really important, because I actually assume it did. No, actually, no. The rally point right there of ByuN made it so that the Overlord did not scout it. But regardless, right now, just by the timing, Rogue should know that he is fine to move in with these Zerglings. A little bit of a risk, but once again, ByuN is going to be forced to make the walk of shame. Or I guess technically the fly of shame, right? Because I guess they hover, but anyways. He's gonna be forced to make the ride of shame all the way back home. Ride, walk, whatever. Fly. Just pick a term, Lowko. Doesn't matter. But he's once again gonna force to retreat with the Reaper. And while the Zerglings are once again trying to get a couple kills here, looks like they will be able to get at least one SCV. Second one almost going down there as well. That was much cleaner by ByuN, not nearly losing as much mining time. Now once more, look at that. ByuN throwing up another barracks on the left-hand side of the main. Now, this is something that is going to be difficult to scout here for Zerg. The factory timing was very normal. Okay, not a weird timing here for the factory whatsoever. We see double reactor coming up from ByuN. Huh. Okay. So this could actually be a second factory here in a little bit as well. I don't see it coming up just yet. Normally this is going to be a bio transition, which I guess it is still going to be with that tech lab right now coming up as well. ByuN could decide to add on a starport anyway, but he's going to have a lot more Marines out, and I guess a delayed third command center. We're going to have to keep an eye out on exactly what ByuN has got in store for us in this game as well, because it's once again looking as if he's going for something a little bit cheeky. Is it just going to be a bio transition? I guess it might be. This is something that players used to do for a while. Normally we see it with a starport a little bit quicker, and then you can follow it up with a 16 Marine drop with Stimpack. But now obviously that Stimpack is going to be finishing up quite a little bit later than you normally would assume. I guess this is just going to be a normal transition here after all. So some Zerg players do opt to fly in the Overlord right about right now. You can see the production right here on top of that ramp. If you see that more Hellions are coming up, you might once again assume that it is going to be that transition towards the Hellbat push, right? But in this case, I mean, we see a very late starport coming up. ByuN is likely going to sit back for a little while. And that means as long as Rogue is reading this correctly, he's going to be able to make as many drones as his Zerg heart pleases, which is basically 66, as quickly as possible on 3 bases, right? You're looking to get that full 3-base saturation, and even though Rogue is dealing with a very small amount of info, he knows that a couple of Hellions are home, he knows that he's not really forced to deal with a lot on his side of the map, he's just simply happily macroing up. So Spore Crawlers are even coming up right now in all 3 bases. 4.5 minutes is the timing for a Cloak Banshee or, for example, a Liberator. Instead, it's gonna be an awkwardly timed Marine. I guess it's gonna be like a Marine push with Stimpack and then a bunch of Hellbats maybe, or I guess maybe just Hellions. Does he have? No, he does not. Okay, I was just wondering if he had an armory done already to maybe push with Hellbats as well. But no, I think that he is going to go for a timing, though, very shortly after the first 2 Medivacs do spawn. I guess this is going to be a push that hits 30 seconds later or so than it no, it's probably going to be like 45 seconds later than a normal push like this would hit, except it's going to be now with additional Hellions as well, which is really curious. Now, the Overlord does eventually fly in. It's going to figure out that something is a little bit weird here. Third command center timing there is a big tell for Rogue. He kind of knows that something is going to be off, but he immediately does queue up a lot more drones. So once again, right, very cool move here by ByuN. He's trying to poke with the Hellions on one end, and then he's dropping, I guess, with the Marines inside of the main. And I guess this is assumed to be more Hellions right now for Terran, but instead it's going to be a lot of those units. Now, absolutely all the Zerglings got sniped immediately. ByuN is showing us the strategies that he's willing to play. This is very, very strange because right now that the Queens are pulled away from the third base, the Hellions swoop in. They're gonna try and roast a bunch of these workers. Good defense so far though by Rogue, all things considered. He does manage to get this around, but that's still 14 of those workers going down. ByuN is gonna be able to transition right now towards a relatively normal mid-game after a very interesting build here in the earlier part of the match. What a cool way of playing. I don't think I've seen something like this in a really long time. Hiding the one barracks over there, going for the Hellions, making his opponent think it's a normal 1-1-1 when in reality he's getting 16 Marines. I also do want to compliment Rogue though on that Overlord scout, right? Like he did see that there was that starport at the front with the reactor and then the later third command center. I think if he wouldn't have seen that, he probably would have just queued up even more drones after that. Luckily for him, he did get himself a round of units as well, but still, ByuN is a difficult player to read. All right. So 1-1 is finally starting. Now, just for emphasis, normally against the Marine-based opener, you start up your evolution chambers around the 4-ish minute mark. Right now we're 7.5 minutes into the game and the upgrades just started. Looks like a couple of queens there are in trouble as well as that fourth hatchery. It will not be cancelled either. That was a kill there. Rogue is starting to fall apart. Now he is going for that Spire. Mutaling Bane. Mutaling Bane, of course, used to be very popular back in the day. Nowadays you don't see it, well, I was gonna say you don't really see it very much in 2018, although in the new patch it's become a lot more common once again. Mutaling Bane, with the nerf to the Thor, is once again a viable option for Zerg. And also because the Hydra, of course, is a little bit weaker. It's still going to be Ling Bane heavy, I assume, but Mutas definitely can change the outcome of a match really quickly. Obviously, they're phenomenal when it comes to picking up medevacs, for example, like this. Good scout here by Rogue, just barely in the nick of time, but still. There's one Widow Mine in one of those medevacs too. It's gonna unload, and once again, Zerg is forced to deal with a lot of different pushes all over the map. That Widow Mine, man, I love that Widow Mine. Okay, this time around, it's not gonna be able to deal that much damage, but against a weaker opponent, you can definitely kill, like, a massive clump of Zerglings that were just sent on attack move. Once again, though, Marines are stimming forward. They're going to try and go after some of these units over here. Love that pickup micro. And then dropping them down on Banelings individually. Even though it sounds a little bit sad for the families and the friends of Larry and Jim, right? But one Marine for a Baneling is an excellent trade for Terran. They will take that deal any day of the week. And once again, right, ByuN. Oh, man, I love this man's micro. No one's really doing micro the way that ByuN does it. Alright, so let's take up inventory right now. What exactly is ByuN's plan? Looks like he's got a lot more production here for bio, but it looks like he's gonna do that thing that we saw Teja do over the last couple of weeks in particular, where he just keeps on piling on the pressure. Right? Not really allowing Zerg to get up to that magical 80 drone count. Instead, he's just gonna continuously push across the map with bigger armies. Now, that is a lot of mutas. And these medevacs are going to be in a lot of trouble. Excellent control there, actually, as well, by our Zerg, getting rid of one of those medevacs just like that. Losing 2 mutas here in the grand scheme of things, but nothing all too crazy just yet. Still, though, ByuN has to be careful. If you move onto the creep, ooh, these Banelings can very easily connect. It all takes, the only thing it takes, right, is one big connection with Banelings, and this push is shut down. I don't think you really want to move onto the creep. Oh, man, those Widow Mines! Dealing a lot more friendly fire there than to the Zerg. Ooh, did you see that Marauder micro to the front? So cool. At the same time, he's also microing a drop here on the other side of the Zerg bases. And ByuN, he's really not allowing his opponent to get a big eco up, is he? Big amount of production still from our Terran player. I would love it if he decides to go up to a 4th command center as well, because this is starting to feel a bit like an all-in a way, you know? Like, he's got a lot of production, yes. He's now getting a Thor, sure. But he doesn't have... Okay, so finally he does start up the 4th CC. I feel like that one could have probably started up a little bit later, or a little bit earlier, because Rogue is holding on, right? ByuN is hoping that his opponent is gonna roll over and, like, lose the game right here. I'm not sure if it's gonna happen. That's still a very scary Terran army, but... Ooh, Zerg is trying to... Well, I don't know if you want to go for a counter right now, to be honest. Instead, he's gonna try and intercept some of those Terran reinforcements. Here we go. Big stim there. Most of that Terran army just actually took a massive hit just because the stim button was pressed. Good bait there by Rogue. Banelings, though, trying to roll forward. Good connection there. Rogue very intelligently not using all of his Banelings and morphing in new ones all the time as well. And great pickup micro here on those Mutalisk as well. Getting all of the Widow Mines before they can actually fire. It's a very, very thin rope to walk on, but he did manage to pick all of those up. And that creates a bit of breathing room right now. Rogue is instead gonna try and do a bit of a counter right now. He's checking for the 4th base. He's like, wait a second, there's no 4th base up here for the Terran? What exactly is going on? Well, the 4th base is finished right now, but it's very, very late. Instead, a couple of those Mutalisk are gonna go in for the counterattack, and I actually think that's the vast majority of them. Obviously, there is that Thor right now on the other side of the map. That's going to be an absolute nuisance as far as splash damage. A couple Mutas now coming up for the reinforcement as well, but I think this 4th base may very well be in trouble. At the same time, though, the Zerglings and Mutas have managed to break into the main base here of the Terran player. And when you're on top of the Terran production, that is when Terran is most vulnerable. A lot of those reinforcing Terran units get picked up before they can even fire one bullet. And that most definitely hurts Terran a lot. After killing the 4th base, it looks like that Terran army is gonna try and make its way back home. But I wonder, is there even enough right now for Terran to get rid of those Mutas? That was a very, very difficult decision there for Rogue to decide to go for the counterattack rather than trying to defend his bases. But he's picking up so many of those Terran units for practically free. And while eventually, right, this army manages to get across, and by the way, there's another drop right here at the newly acquired 4th of Zerg as well. Rogue does manage to clean that up. But while this is all going on, right, Rogue has been able to take control of the game once again. And that's critical. ByuN was the one that had that tempo advantage. Terran is very, very tempo-oriented. But look, another medevac gets shut down. ByuN was the one that got to decide the pace of the game for like the first, I would say, 11 minutes or so. Right now, that favor is for Rogue instead. Great moves there by our Zerg, and while he's still struggling eco-wise, he doesn't have a Hive, he doesn't have great upgrades. He only just now gets the 4th base up. He managed to successfully contain his opponent right now on 3 bases, and these Mutas, man, they are gonna go to town. If your control is good, you can get so much value out of them. That's 20 Mutas. A couple of Marines show up, you immediately want to back up into this, I guess, safe place right over here. Now, Thors, they are a little bit weaker, but if your Mutas are clumped up, whew, they can most definitely still make quick work of Mutas like that. Their splash is not as great. Ooh. Oh. Alright, getting a couple of medevacs first trouble as well. Apparently the command center gets lifted. Out of all structures, I would have imagined to get lifted here. I'm not sure what the idea behind that was, but... Yep, okay. He's just simply gonna, you know, do a bit of a dance. That's the orbital command dance right there. But look, right, if Widow Mines connect, these Mutas will be gone. If the Thors manage to get their missiles on top of a clumped up pack of Mutas, these Mutas are gonna be in trouble. Oh. Oh, man. Great target firing right there. A couple of Marines, once again, will end up going down as well. But the 4th CC has been acquired for ByuN. Now, look at the amount of workers, right? I only just now realized this. Rogue ended up killing a tremendous amount of SCVs during all of this as well. I guess the majority of those were at the natural. A couple of them right now, obviously, at the 3rd. And ByuN hasn't really made any additional workers anymore for another little while. Instead, ByuN is going to try and go for what seems to be a last-ditch effort. He's going up against the maxed-out Zerg army, though, so I don't really know exactly what the plan is. Rogue, rather than ever fighting with his Mutas, he's mostly just using them for counterattacks, right? So once again, that's a lot of SCVs going down, bringing the grand total up to 35. And right now, I mean, Zerg has been able to rebuild some of that creep as well. That means that Rogue is going to be able to flap on home with those Mutas and set up a big surround with his Baneling army. Now, this is a tight choke. How many Widow Mines are there in total? 7 in total, but I don't see that many of them over here. There's really only a single one, if I'm not mistaken. A couple of Banelings, apparently, did try to make their way through the center. But anyways, this is still going to be a very scary army for Rogue to deal with. But as long as he controls it correctly, I think he can shut down ByuN right here, right now. Even though ByuN had a phenomenal early game, the mid game is currently going heavily in favor right here over Rogue. And you know what? Here we go. The Zerg army is going to start moving forward. I don't know if you want to roll those Banes into Thors, but at some point, I guess it doesn't matter. Now, the base in the center will also be losing a lot of those workers as well. More and more links are being produced. A couple of Bane links now also being morphed in. But once again, right, the Zerg army, it is going to roll forward. And when you get to roll into bio on creep, that is, of course, the Zerg's happy place. So Rogue is indeed the one who obtains the victory here in the second match. Alrighty, so that brings us to game number 3. And this time around, we are on Parasite LE. I gotta be honest though, I really do like the builds that ByuN is playing so far. I mean, they all lead towards a similar and very standard mid-game, but the opener is a little bit different, and I guess it's designed to throw high-level players off of their game. I mean, obviously these builds, well, you can definitely copy them on the lower end of the ladder as well. There's no denying that it sort of requires your opponent to get a certain amount of scouting information. And then, you know, to use the bait and switch method where the opposing Zerg player assumes that a certain strat is happening and then, you know, he obviously comes out with something completely different. Looks like in this game, we have a command center first. It almost has to be, right? He didn't send out any workers. He's already at 300 minerals. There we go. A command center first on the low ground. Another one of those things. I just want to emphasize the balls on this man. I mean, they're like bowling balls at this point, okay? Like, seriously. His opponent went for a double pool first opener in the previous games, right? Pool first twice from Rogue. And ByuN says, you know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and make a command center first. Now, I'm pretty sure on paper, while this seems really bad, it might very well be the counter to this kind of stuff. I mean, as long as you... it's kind of tricky, right? So, if the Zerglings were to be running across the map right now, obviously you'd be in a little bit of trouble. However, if you can finish up the command center and simply lift it, you're gonna be in a good enough position to land it a little while later, and it won't be delayed at all. But obviously, you have to sort of assume that your opponent is gonna go for a reasonable pool timing. If they go for a really aggressive pool timing, obviously this is immediately game over. I mean, there's absolutely nothing for the Terran player right now that can fight, other than, I guess, these bad boys with the drills and, you know, the blue minerals that they're holding in their hands. But other than that, I mean, I guess technically a bulldozer would be kind of scary, okay? I guess a Zergling fighting an SCV should probably not go particularly well for the Zergling, but I guess the bulldozers aren't as good as the ones we have in real life. In particular, flying bulldozers, right? Like, I mean, wouldn't you imagine that you could get like a boost upgrade for SCVs so that I could like use the thrusters on their back and just like dash through a bunch of desert? Anyway, I'll stop talking, okay? Before like the StarCraft 2 balance design team gets any ideas. all we get is the marine SCV all-ins, even more so on the ladder. No, we should not be talking about this, guys. I said nothing. Just in case the design team, the balance team is listening. I said nothing. Third command center already coming up. ByuN. He's breaking out all of the weird builds right now, right? I love this though. So CC first into barracks. He made one marine. Larry, once again, on the outlook. He's sort of overlooking, I guess, not a whole lot, but he's trying to kill an overlord that might be coming in. And while we did see the factory as a follow-up as well as that reactor, the third CC is already going up at the 3-minute mark. That's gonna boost ByuN's economy a ridiculous amount. Now, obviously, he's been extremely vulnerable here. We don't really see any aggression coming out of Rogue, and this is obviously ByuN playing not so much the race, but the opponent. I don't think this is the kind of build you wanna do on the ladder, and I can guarantee you that ByuN won't be playing this on the ladder either. But apparently he did practice this kind of style, and it is gonna allow him to get a really strong economy right from the get-go. I mean, if there was any aggression here from Rogue at all, you know, this build would just roll over and die, and it would make ByuN look really stupid. But he's not doing that, right? Like, Rogue is playing super safe. And I guess that might be... I don't know if that's the thing. Rogue doesn't really seem like that kind of player. But I know, for example, someone like Dark, he's very well known for always thinking he's better than his opponents. And in many of those games, you will assume that that Dark is just simply going to play the hardcore macro game, just because Dark is really well known for that, and he's really good against that kind of stuff. But if Rogue were to think that he's better than ByuN, right, he's likely going to play his strongest game. And his strongest game is 100% going to be that macro mid to late game oriented style. And because of that being the case, because, you know, Rogue is likely going to play that strongest game, in particular in the third game of a series against a player who he probably thinks he's better than, anyway, I'm trying to assume mind games here that might very well not be at play, but I do like the way that ByuN is playing this. Very much so playing the opponent. So here we go. Third CC done. 5 minutes into the game. Double upgrades coming up 5 minutes into the game. We see a full-on transition towards that bio-based style. Basically, what our Terran player is going to do is, first off, micro these Hellions really well. Get a lot of Zerg kills. But then, oh my god. That was super sick, actually. Nine Zerg kills there. But what he's gonna do is make all units that the Terran can make that start with the letter M, okay? Marines, Medevacs, Marauders. Well, I guess Mines, technically. Although, I guess they start with a W, but don't forget about that part. Or forget about that part, rather. It doesn't really matter too much. This is going to be a really nicely played game already here by our Terran player. I love it. Big fan. Now, let's have a look at what Rogue is up to, because I feel like I've been fanboying over our Terran here for a little while. Rogue is very well known for displaying that standard normal macro game. His late game is probably better than anyone, other than maybe Serral. Serral's late game control is ridiculous. But Rogue is very good for that as well. And for a while, everyone said he's the best late game player on the planet. Like, period. He in particular, in like 2017, he just looked unstoppable. If you went to the late game against someone like Rogue, he just lost. He was just gonna smash you. He smashed everyone. So we'll see exactly what his plan is gonna be this game. Love the rally right there, by the way. That's so sick. And a lot of Terran players have been doing that lately. Where they, man, I was just gonna say I'm done fanboying on ByuN, but anyways, I noticed Innovation do this as well, where basically you have one depot down and you rally all reinforcements towards that depot. So that way you can still maneuver around without like having to manually lift it up. Ooh, gotta be careful though. Ooh, those Banelings. They do get some nice connections. The Queen's there trying to zone away the Medevacs as well. That was a good cleanup there. But in the meantime, on the other side of the map, Rogue is not really getting a whole lot done. Right? Relatively laid back game here actually from both players. We do not see that burrow upgrade coming up, as well as the centrifugal hooks. Rogue did decide to get himself some upgrades once again. Pretty late on into the game though, not gonna lie. Playing very safe, favoring the quick bailing upgrades. But Zerg is now already in their happy place once again. We get 70 drones. Fourth base is just about to finish. Wouldn't be surprised if he decides to start up another set of drones here for the newly acquired base in just a little bit. There we go, 6 more drones. And that's going to bring his total up to nearly 80, which is where Zerg wants to be. We see the infestation pit now coming up as well, so that it looks like an 8-minute Hive. Very aggressive, very quick. I like that a lot. But he is going to be forced to now deal with a very scary Terran army. Now, centrifugal hooks, just seconds from finishing. There it is. So these Banelings are going to be able to start rolling forward. Still though, the Widow Mines, oof. They're trying to get the value. Great control here as well, actually, by Rogue. Trying to get the Banelings to roll into all of those vulnerable Marines. But considering that fight took place on creep, and actually there's once again a little bit of a run by. Considering that fight took place on creep, I think that ByuN is the one who did end up coming out ahead there. Usually when you're fighting against the Terran army on creep, the Banelings should just be able to smash it. And if that doesn't happen and the Marines get a favorable trade, it's just really rough to win from there. Anyways, Hive is coming up right now, so very quick Hive. 4th command center at a much more reasonable time this time around as well. And we see like a bunker almost setting itself up right over here. A bunker without bunkers, okay? But once again, a big Terran army is making its way down the right-hand side of the map. There we go. Scan will confirm the location of pretty much all of those active creep tumors. There's actually a base being taken over here that has not been spotted yet. So nicely done there by Zerg. Sneaking that one out. But here we go. Rogue does want to engage before all of the creep disappears. Nicely done. At the same time, looks like there, once again, were a couple of Banelings trying to make their way to the mineral lines. Rogue is trying his best and he's doing his part, but he's not really getting any worker kills. 0 have been killed so far by the Zerg. And that's scary. Now, the Queens are going to be able to lay down the tumors once again. And I almost feel like Rogue got a little lucky there. If that base right over here was killed, that would have actually hurt him quite a bit. That would have set back Zerg quite a little bit. Now, the Hive is finishing right now. We'll see what kind of tech he's got in store for us. Usually, when you're up with your back against the wall, like this game has been, usually we see Zerg players going Ultras. If they are happy to macro and they haven't really been messed with too much, usually it's going to be Brute Lords. I personally vastly superior. I think Brute Lords are vastly superior right now than Ultras. So in this case, we do see Ultralisk. In the games where I've played Ultras myself, and I don't know if this is my experience only. Oh man, hold that thought for just a little bit. Ugh. Yeah, this will just simply be shut down, I think, by Zerg. Nice little bit of control here from both sides, though. Trying to split against those Banes. At the same time, we do see now a medevac drop here. Near the third base location of Zerg 2. This one is actually going to deal quite a bit of damage. And a big counterattack right now from Zerg as well. But that one will just simply lift up the command center instead. But anyways, I always kind of feel like whenever I play Ultralisks, it's a great way for me to throw the game. Like I don't want to make this I don't want to make the Ultras sound too bad, because I know they can be good, but in pretty much all the games where I make Ultras, I just lose. I just cannot get the value out of them that I once could. I mean, sure, they got a new upgrade that allows them to be 10% faster off creep, but I haven't really seen it come into play in a successful way at all. I almost feel like you're better off skipping that upgrade and just getting one more Ultra instead. Because it's not a cheap upgrade and it takes a while to finish, and in general it doesn't really seem to have much of an impact if your creep spread is halfway decent. But we'll see what kind of value Rogue manages to get out of those big beefy things in this game. Well, so far he hasn't actually made any yet. Just relying on the Queens and the Lings and the Banes. So no Hydras, no Mutas, none of that. Just a bunch of Zerglings and Banelings mostly. Looks like that bunkered position right here of ByuN is gonna be shut down for now, but he can just simply make a couple of those units once again. Looks like the Liberator over here, as well as the medevac drop, is gonna be mostly just a distraction tactic. Ooh, that was a good hit for ByuN's main force here to start moving towards the 6th base. Or is it the 5th or the 6th? Doesn't matter. But this hatchery right here on the right-hand side. Well, now the Zerg army, though, now that it's done dealing with that big, scary drop, it is going to be forcing all of these units once again to be picked up into medevacs. Those Widow Mines that were left over from earlier, they are once again going to be able to get another one of those shots in. But the Zerg army is absolutely humongous right now, and it is just simply going to roll and run over all of these Terran units. But still, the reinforcement here from ByuN is really solid, right? We see the continued harass right here in the center of the map as well. Ultras are finally coming out now that chitinous plating has been started up as well, and we do see the adaptive talents. Or is that what it's called? No, I don't think it's... Is that what it's called? Did I just nail that? I actually don't think I've actually called that upgrade properly a single time. Adaptive talents? Is that it? I'm not sure. Anyways, we will be seeing both of the upgrades now coming up here for our Terran, or for our Zerg player. He's going to be going into the Ultraling Bane army, which, traditionally speaking, was really good. Nowadays, I haven't, like, I've already told you, right? But I really haven't been able to get a lot of value out of this myself. This has been a long, ongoing fight, though. Great fighting here in general. Looks like that Liberator ended up killing quite a couple of workers as well. Still, the Terran army is trying to overpower this position. ByuN only really needs to get one good Widow Mine hit right now, and that's why he's trying to burrow them in such aggressive positions. If he manages to get a couple of those Banelings for free, he's going to be in a good spot, but the Ultras are out right now. Let's see what they can do. One Thor has already been produced as well. And look, they just get, like, they don't do anything here, right? I mean, chitinous plating wasn't done. +3/+3 is just about to finish, but here we go. Chitinous plating right now is done. Let's see what these bad boys can do. Queen's in the back trying to transfuse. Nicely done. Obviously, transfuse saw a bit of a nerf as well. But look, Marines, Marauders. Yeah, they just killed him. They just killed him really nicely. Man, he's just rallying units through the center of the map, right? And I love the fact that ByuN on the back of this also actually found the time to produce another one of those command centers. Now, one cheeky little Zergling, somehow defying everything we know about science. You know, have you ever noticed command centers stand on like little legs? How is that not able to land when a unit is burrowed on the ground? Anyway, top 10 things science can't explain. Someone write an article. Ultimate clickbait. Anyways, Science fiction game is not realistic. It's like, oh, that can't be. That can't possibly be. Now, I love this. Zergling counterattack right before the planetary fortress can finish up. A lot of Widow Mines in the center right now, though. The base here in the center of Zerg is being picked up, too. Planetary does finish here eventually, but that's still a lot of losses here for Terran in the grand scheme of things. Ooh, good fungal growth there. That's gonna allow these Ultras, but also those Banelings to connect, but it doesn't really matter. ByuN does manage to get the snipe here on the base in the center. And this is gonna start hurting quite a bit. ByuN took all of the bases on his side of the map. He's gonna continue likely piling on the pressure. This is what we saw Teja do quite a bit. Love these Zerglings, by the way, that just like are scattered through the map. Just for like vision. Really nicely done, so he knows where the Zerg are, or where the Terran army is located. But anyways, what we likely will see ByuN do in this game is just continue piling on the pressure. And if he manages to get this kill right here on the base on the right-hand side, that's gonna hurt a lot. Ultras are available. Big Zergling counterattack. The Baneling's gotta try and connect with some of those SCVs. They will be able to successfully do so. Depot right there, raced just barely in the nick of time. And the Terran army is advancing still on the right-hand side. While it is forced to deal with a lot of units over in the natural as well, I think a Terran reinforcement eventually should be enough to get rid of all of that. There we go. Stimpack does get activated. All of those Terran units using their drugs in order to get the location and the damage that they needed to be in. But once again, great fungal growth. Ultra is going to be able to move forward. Obviously, it dies once again because Ultras kind of suck. But yeah. I'm just going to start commentating in action sounds now. I don't know if I like these engagements all too much. Now look, supply-wise, Rogue did manage to clean a lot of this up. But he hasn't been mining that much, it feels like. Now, ByuN also actually likewise lost a lot of SCVs. Maybe I'm miscalling this, I'm not sure. But he likely also did end up losing quite a lot of SCVs during all of these little bits of aggression. It's just that I've seen these kind of games play out so many times. And unless there's a really good Baneling connection here for Zerg, it's really hard to push back these Terran units without Brute Lords. I really do think that Brute Lords are vastly superior. Great Widow Mine connection right there. Actually killing both armies quite a bit. But ByuN is going to continue pushing through this choke. Now the base in the center has been acquired. Worker-wise, Zerg is still in a really good advantage, and ByuN is starting to trade rather inefficiently, though. But you can see, in the grand scheme of things, I mean, units lost. Zerg has still lost far, far less. Or far more, rather. Almost 600 Zerglings here. And, I mean, he's mining, like, even more than his opponent, right? Even though, obviously, there's less SCVs. He doesn't need that many anymore at this point in the game, either. Because he has so many mules dropping. This is going to be a tough one, I think, for Rogue to recuperate from. If he gets a little bit of wiggle room and like he gets a little bit of time to start gathering more energy on those infestors, to relay some of those creep tumors, there's definitely a good chance here for Zerg. But look, this is what ByuN can now start doing. He's got a lot of Liberators. And these Liberators, they're just going to be able to pick up, I mean, right now, for the moment, mostly just Zerglings and Banelings, but they're going to be able to shut down everything that's called Ultralisk right at this point in the game. And speaking of Ultralisks, apparently they're going to try and show me what they are made of. They're going to try and see if they can kill that planetary fortress over here. The SCVs will try and repair some of this as well, but no. Oh my god. I told you, man, Ultras are really, like... whoop-de-doo, they got like the little, like, you see the little whoosh behind them? You see like the little whoosh. It's like they're superheroes. That's not from the skin. That's from their new speed upgrade. 10% off creep. Doesn't it look menacing and fast? It really doesn't seem any faster now, does it? Slowly but surely my videos are starting to deteriorate towards balance whining only. Anyway, this command center may finally end up going down. There is also a drop in the bottom left-hand corner trying to get that hatchery over there. Still, oh no. You know you've got a lot of Liberators when they get used to you know, get rid of those. Zergling run boys. That's when you know there's a lot of them. No, but seriously though, I really do think that Ultras kind of feel a little meh right now. Hatchery in the bottom left-hand corner also does get picked up. Once again, beautiful control by ByuN, right? Like, holding position right there on that one Marauder while, like, managing everything else. And while there aren't a lot of workers remaining here for Terran, he's been happily dropping those mules left and right. He's playing his game beautifully. Looks like he has been fighting over on the right-hand side for like a good 10 minutes, and he finally manages to get the kill on that hatch. Now, the hatch is mostly mined out, but it does now put like a bit of a timer on Rogue's position, because we know, now with the base in the center gone as well, that he's running out of money. Right? Main, no more minerals. Natural, couple of them. I guess the third and the fourth have some mining patches remaining, but they're all starting to look very, very skinny. ByuN has been harassing his opponent to death, and I love this style. It's so sick. You know, even secured the base right here in the center. Relatively easy to attack into, but if you're super active out on the map, Terran is not going to be able to really, like, allow the Zerg to get any wiggle room for these kind of counterattacks. Rogue instead is going to try and set up what seems to be a surround. There's a lot of ultras on the ground and a couple infestors left over as well. And here we go. The Zerg sandwich is being set up. Terran is going to be forced to get on out of there really nicely. Ultras now, though. Oh, man. They got the movement speed upgrade, guys. They should be good against units that are trying to kite them. Yeah. I'm not sold on the ultra, guys. I'm really not sold on the ultra. Beautiful games, though, by ByuN. I think if Rogue would have gone for Brute Lord, he would have probably been in an easier position. But then again, if you have to defend both the right-hand side as well as the center of the map, Brutes are just not going to cut it, right? Like, it's really hard to maneuver Brute Lords in the correct position. So it's hard to say exactly what Rogue should have done in this game. I still think, though, it all comes down from that early game that ByuN played. Remember when he went for that super greedy opener, CC first, 1 Marine, straight into like a 3rd command center? Rather than playing the matchup, he played the opponent, and it allowed him to create this really strong mid to late game army. And it just sort of gave him that tempo advantage that he lost in game number 2, but he absolutely had from start to finish here in the final map of this series. Now, I hope that you enjoyed watching this game. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notifications as soon as I upload more. A special shout out to the Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. And other than that, you can also check out my merch at www.LowkoTV/merch. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile. And I'll see you once again tomorrow for another video.